Welcome back to our program. I'm your host, Wu Ruiguo. We will continue our conversation with Professor Zhao Chien-Min, who is the Deputy Minister of the Mainland Affairs Council of our government. Professor Zhao, I want to ask you that the fourth ARADS and CEF, or Jiangchen meeting, between the two unofficial organizations on both sides, will take place probably in middle of December in Taichung. Why is it this time being held outside of the city of Taipei? Were there any particular considerations other than the fact maybe giving our Chinese visitors the opportunity of seeing the sites outside of Taipei?
It was already decided that the talks between the two sides, between the SEF and RADS, will alternate between the two places, Taiwan and the Mainland China.
Exactly.
You see, we have 2 rounds of such talks each year. That means every year, one side will be responsible for 1 round of talk.
Exactly.
And this year, because last year the second Jiangchen talks were held here in Taipei. So this year, the 4th round of the talks, we ruled out Taipei from the very beginning because we wanted other cities to also have to share the responsibility and also to have these opportunities to showcase their own, the beauty of their place. And actually, every city, is interested in to play as a host. So we had the central part of Taiwan and southern part of Taiwan in mind in the beginning, but the southern part of Taiwan was struck by the typhoon quite severely, and then it was basically ruled out. And Taichung is a good city. It's a very many people are very happy there.
And also, I understand your reaction from Taichung City government, from Mayor Jason Hu on down, was all very, very positive. But given the experience that we had, a year ago in November of 2008, that there were some, tense moments while the summit meeting was going on, especially between the police and also the protesters. As Deputy Minister that you mentioned earlier, we are a democracy. People have different opinions on very important public policy issues, such as cross-strait relations. But the fact of the matter remains is we certainly do not want to see a repeat of what happened last year when there were some violent clashes between the police officers and also the protesters. So what are these steps, as far as you can reveal to our audience, what are the steps that we're being taken or being considered to prevent such an episode from happening again?
Last year, it was for the very first time that such a large meeting between the two sides, which was semi-official. But in the eyes of many Taiwanese people, those people came from Mainland China were pretty much like officials. Many Chinese officials who come here to inspect. For some people,
they will interpret
that way. Of course, it wasn't true, and it was first time, and the preparation was not enough. There was a bit of confusion, and many people were worried about this and that, whether the police, they did not have such experience either, how to handle a huge delegation from Mainland China with protesters on the one hand and huge media journalists on the other hand.
Exactly.
So you see, that was really there was not a very easy time. But this time around, we have accumulated experiences, and we have learned the lessons. So everything has been planned in advance. I think last year, one of the issues and one of the most important issues, and which was one of the problems as well, was the way we handle the news media. Because there was a huge demand of news, and the process was long, and there was some frictions between the government, our side, my agency, and the media organizations and media people themselves. But this year we have taken steps. We have started the process early on. I myself is in charge of this news publication. And
that's one job I don't envy you.
No. But what I'm saying is that we understand, we try to remember what happened last year.
Exactly.
And we have taken steps in order to prevent those same mistakes from happening again. We have confidence it will be a good round of talks.
Yeah, we certainly hope that there will not be any more repeat of what happened last year. And certainly we don't want to see any violence, because this is a very important occasion for relations with China, and also for putting Taiwan on the international and regional level of attention. But the fact of the matter remains is that besides the 4 issues, the Deputy Minister that you just mentioned, on the official meeting agenda, there were also a lot of interest on the possibility of discussions, at least preliminarily, discussions about the so-called ECFA, the Economic Cooperation Framework Agreement between China and Taiwan. Would you share with us, would that possibly be a major focus of the meeting besides the 4 items that you mentioned, or would that be something just on the very preliminary level between the 2 sides to discuss ECFA?
As I said earlier, the 2 sides have already exchanged the research notes, and they are up already to enter into a formal discussion on this or negotiation over this very issue. And I think it's likely, although it hasn't been decided yet, I think it's likely that the ECFA, the Economic Cooperation Framework Agreement, the issue might be able to be included as a issue for dialogue between the 2 sides. I think they need to talk about that as to where we stand now, and whether there will be made an issue for the next agenda for the next round of negotiation. So I think most definitely it will be there, because the 2 sides need to finalize the conference, the agenda for the next round of talks, and the ECFA will be the very first issue to be discussed for the next round of negotiation. If that's the case, then we would have to make to reset the agenda.
And Deputy Minister, let me ask you that. You talked earlier about the financial MOUs, which was signed recently, and that was very important. Big step in terms of financial cooperation between the 2 sides. And certainly we would like to see the financial services sector being included as part of the early harvest list for the ECFA. But besides the substance of what's to be included in the initial early harvest list, there were always some sensitive political issues that may arise in the negotiations. However, there was a very mild but somewhat pleasant surprise when the signing of the MOUs between the 2 sides, that the 2 sides were able to shelve aside the politically sensitive issues and just go on, in terms of settling the differences on the names and the titles and the capacity to the signatories. Do we expect the same kind of attitude coming from Beijing on this ECFA issue when it's likely to be discussed and signed sometime next year?
Over the past 17 months, like I said, the 9 agreements have already been signed, plus the 3 financial MOUs, which were inked a few days ago. So we have accumulated some experience, and I think the 2 sides are sensible enough not to spoil the
positive momentum.
Yes, and this is that we have been painstakingly built.
Yes,
it's hard earned. It's not easy. I think both sides understand this is not
something happened overnight.
Right. This is not a small achievement. We should be careful about it. Not to nurture the young baby so that they can grow older, grow stronger, and so on. So Yes, we don't see any problems there. I think the two sides will try to avoid politics, and I think we have either we have resorted either to the semi-official channel where there's no politics at all. The signatures were carried out by the chairman of the two semi-official organizations where there is no non-politics there. But on these financial MOU agreements, it was signed by our Financial Supervisory Commission, which is very much part of our government.
Yes.
And the
counterpart in China.
It's also, they also have official capacity. So, either way, I think the two sides have accumulated enough experience to make the next signing of the ECFA a success.
Yeah, we certainly look, to have the ECFA as part of the very important agenda between the two sides for the year 2010. And we're going to take another short break on the Taiwan Outlook, where we'll come back to our program and wrap up our discussion with Professor Zhao Chien-Min, who is the Deputy Minister of the Mainland Affairs Council. We'll be back shortly.